COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
Cybersecurity experts' jaws continued to drop as they found out the extent and the breadth of this striking cybersecurity attack.
It does represent potentially something systemic that really kind of moves into the entire global financial system.
And when you think about a cyber attack on the financial systems, there are so many electronic trading desks, there are so many products, so many assets in passive vehicles, and that when volatility spikes, there could be an absence of liquidity.
At precisely 4:41 p.m. on the 5th of May 2021, I wrote a post in my private community, as I do several times a week, just alerting people to different things I'm concerned about. But little did I know just how timely and important this particular post would be, because this particular post was all about a major cyber attack that I was concerned would be occurring very shortly. Less than 24 hours later, all the media and all the news outlets were flooded with this story.
We're following new developments on that massive hack attack. One top cybersecurity firm issuing a major warning tonight.
This is probably the most significant ransomware attack on one of our critical infrastructures ever.
Colonial Pipeline is the operator of the largest pipeline carrying fuel from the Gulf Coast to the Northeast.
The biggest fuel pipeline system in the United States remains crippled by a cyber attack.
Tonight, a complex and sinister mystery.
This is one of my worst nightmares come to light.
A crippling cyber attack that forced a major U.S. energy pipeline offline Friday.
You're holding a major component of the United States infrastructure hostage.
This weekend, an emergency response across the U.S. government, Homeland Security, the FBI, Department of Energy, and more.
In the last year, I don't think it should come as a surprise to anyone, but we've been subjected to more cyber attacks and issues around this nature than at any other time in recorded history. So where are we today then with all of these hacking issues and cybersecurity threats? Are we getting better at this as a nation, or are our governments losing control and not getting a handle on all of this? Well, check this out.
Last month, hackers took our gasoline hostage. Now they're attacking our meat supply.
JBS says units in Australia and North America were hit over the weekend by what the company is calling an organized cyber attack.
John, we had a gas hack. Now we have a meat hack. The company is called JBS USA. The national security concern here is when you're looking at one of the big elements of the overall food supply in this country. If you're looking at, gas supply lines with the Colonial Pipeline hack, and now this one, you're talking about fundamental elements of the supply chain for the overall economy and the overall health of the nation.
And if that wasn't scary enough, have a look at these stories from earlier in the month, which just emphasizes what I'm saying even more.
The UK government's website has been giving error messages in what seems to be a worldwide internet issue this morning. Major retail and news websites were also among those down. Things are, we're led to believe, improving, but a number of websites down this morning.
So what exactly is the problem here then? And why do I believe that there's a bigger threat on the way? Well, yet again, it involves our good friends at the World Economic Forum. Up until now, they've been extremely accurate with most things, including around the COVID crisis and their Event 201, just a couple of months before COVID actually broke out. So let's have a look at what they're talking about now then, and let's see, will this give us a glimpse into the future?
Hackers have intensified their attacks on business, economies, and societies worldwide. And officials at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, are addressing the global security threat.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
So this is interesting then, because as an ex-soldier, I used to be doing exercises every few months. And the whole process and point of an exercise was to prepare you for something that may or may not come in the future. but there's always a risk or a high likelihood that it could come. So from what they said on the website there, I'm going to read into this and give you my interpretation of what I think these risks could be. So number one is pretty obvious. It's supply chain issues. I'm not surprised by this at all because I've been talking about these supply chain issues that we have for over a year now. And I said the COVID crisis will only make this even worse. And of course, in a recent video I did, I showed you how I walked around the largest supermarket in Europe and the shelves were empty due to a breakdown in supply chain and panic buying. And you've got to remember that we now live in a world of globalization. And globalization can be dangerous when you have these supply chain breakdowns or when you're trying to import lots of products and services and there's issues that occur in the world such as COVID and things like this. So a cyber attack could actually make this even worse by breaking down these supply chains and causing a lot of slowdowns, meaning that important things that we need, such as food, medical, etc., might get stuck for a short period of time, obviously then creating backlogs. The other issue I think they are alluding to, but without scaring everyone, is around the financial markets. I believe there's a very big risk that there could be a major cyber attack on the financial institutions. And of course, with the liquidity aspect that all of these institutions operate on now, it only takes several of these large institutions being attacked at the same time that could cause a flash crash in the stock markets. And this would be absolutely catastrophic because without the liquidity, you could see the stock market going down quite dramatically. And of course, the stock market is psychological more than anything else. Even though a lot of people don't understand this, it really is, especially right now. It's a psychological market. If people see it start to drop quite heavily, people are going to start trying to sell off. And the funds and the hedge funds, they're going to try and sell off as well. Everyone's going to try and get ahead of the curve on this. This doesn't even include the AI software that will be trading at the same time. This could just be absolutely catastrophic. And I think this is what they are alluding to with these exercises. It's titled What the COVID-19 Pandemic Teaches Us About Cybersecurity and How to Prepare for the, here we go, keywords, inevitable global cyber attack. Look at the language they're using here. It doesn't say a possible, it says inevitable. It would be comforting to think this is merely a blip interrupting an essentially stable state of affairs and that the world will return to normal once medicine and science have tamed the virus. Look at this. Comforting and wrong. Our new normal isn't COVID-19 itself, it's COVID-like incidents. And a cyber pandemic is probably as inevitable as a future disease pandemic. The time to start thinking about the response is, as always, yesterday. To start that process, it's important to examine the lessons of the pandemic and use them to prepare for a future global cyber attack. See, this is the thing that worries me a little bit, is that they don't say a possible, they don't use softening language. It's as if they know for a fact that this is going to occur. But I can't disagree with the lessons here because a cyber attack would spread a lot quicker than a biological virus. And lesson two, the financial impact of this or the economic impact would be absolutely catastrophic. So it really just emphasizes a lot more of what my concerns are here around this inevitable, using their language here, cyber attack. So overall, I am concerned about a global cyber pandemic. And I think that all of you should be as well. Because if this occurred, I'm only too aware that the average person and family these days, they don't have a lot of food stocked up. They don't have their own garden to grow food and things like this. Most people live month to month and they go to the grocery store every few days. But look at what happened last year with these supply chain issues where the supermarkets and the grocery stores and the corner stores, they just completely ran out of food. So this could be a lesson for us all to just prepare a little better, not just in terms of our cybersecurity, but also our basic living conditions as well. I do believe we're massively unprepared for a risk like this. And when it happens, it's going to take most people by complete surprise and they're just not going to be prepared for it. And in these sort of scenarios, history teaches us exactly what happens and it's absolute chaos.